Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well. Today is Monday and it feels like a Monday, every bit of a Monday, because it is just one of those days where I'm about to drop the F bomb. No, I'm just teasing. It is a cluster though. Today is one of those days where, yeah, several things went wrong, and I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm also trying not to be a baby about it either, and just realize that this happens. This is life. And by no means is this really a bad day. I don't have people in the hospital that I love that I'm hoping get better. I don't have any real big problems. This is just one of those things that things go wrong and they start to interfere with your regularly scheduled appointments. I mean, this event right here, I try to get here at 9, 15 minutes late, not that big a deal, but I had to run 2 more miles just to make it happen. I'll tell you in a second. um, Appointments, deadlines, things like that. I got to get to work, but my morning has been one of those days. So, first, let me just start you off. Woke up regular time. Everything's going great, solid. Wake up plenty of time before I have to be somewhere. And we're going to do a hill day today. If you're not familiar with what we do on a hill day, it's yeah, that's probably about 6 miles worth of running. 2 miles just to get to the hill. It's pitch black. My light's working solid. I'm seeing where my feet go. Doesn't take very long for my light to die out and the battery goes. And stand by because that's the theme of the day. Batteries dying. Um, and so now I'm running in the dark. No big deal. Get my night vision going. Maybe 30 minutes and now it's daylight. Well, that's just the start. And now we run in the hill. That's good. Running back and get in my car, and I notice my fob's not working. I don't know if it's cold or not, so I put my hands in my pockets, and in between my hands, I try to warm it up a little bit. Warms up, and I, get my truck open with my fob, key fob, and go to buy a grocery store. Got to pick up some stuff before I get my dad, take him to breakfast. It's the whole thing. I've got a regular schedule. Then I come here and start this. So when I go to the grocery store, I take off a sweatshirt because it was all sweaty. So take that off. Just going to change shirts there in the parking lot before I go in. And I did that. And when I went to lock the door, it locks, no big deal. So usually my fob would remind me that I have keys in the car. So it's an awesome technology because I can't tell you how many times I would have locked my keys in the car had I not had this little key fob that doesn't allow you to lock their keys in the car. Well, today it did. So my phone and my key fob and my wallet are sitting in the truck. It's like 40 degrees out, which kind of sucks. And so I got a choice. I can call my wife and say, "Hey, can you come pick me up? I'm at the grocery store." Screw that. So I'm going to just run home. So grocery stores, I don't know, mile and a half, 2 miles away from my house. So put on another mile and a half on my legs before I get home. Get this other car, drive over to the grocery store, get my groceries done, drop my dad off at breakfast. And I'm hoping that maybe it will warm up and the key fob will work. That's my guess. And so I went back over there. It hasn't warmed up enough yet. So now I'm about to make a call after I do this show and get my article done. Go make a call, and somebody's going to have to help me get into it because it's shut. So anyway, like I said, it's not a big deal in the end, but it just caused a whole bunch of changes in your day. And sometimes that can throw you off, especially if you have big appointments, you need to focus on something, you've given a presentation, or you know, you got a deadline that you got to meet, and now everything's, you know, discombobulated. So what do you do in that situation? So here's what I do. First of all, we have a built-in method of de-stressing, and that is taking a big deep breath. And you can call them tactical breaths, you can call them cleansing breaths. I don't care what you call them, but just breathe in through your nose, out your mouth. Take 3 minutes and think of nothing but breathing. That's first thing you do. Now, if like the only good thing today that I've done that I've worked out, all right, and working out went great. I got in some hills with some 5, 6 miles worth of running, plus a little extra credit on the back end there. So I'm probably up to 7.5, 8 miles. Um, and feel good. Feel good about that. So needed to eat anyway. So if you can get some good carbs in, right, that's going to help you think a little bit better. Your brain works off carbs and glycogen, so you need some energy. So refuel yourself. I got the amino acids and proteins are going to help you deal with this stress on a hormonal level. The antioxidants and the fruit that I ate, banana, strawberries, some blackberries, and just filled myself for a good breakfast of protein and good carbs. And took all my vitamins. Took a couple minutes to deep breathe, and now I'm ready to start the day. So I'm going to do this little show, take some questions here in a little bit, and then finish my article that I got to write for military.com. And by that time, my wife is taking charge of calling USAA and getting somebody out there to open the truck. But I'm hoping my theory works, is that car heats up. It's sitting right in the sun. It heats up, and as soon as I get there, I just push the little button on the thing, the fob reads it, and it opens up. That's my theory. Not sure if it's going to work or not. But I need new battery in my headlamp as well as in my key fob. So that's a lesson learned today. Nothing big, but just a cluster that just, maybe I'm getting spoiled because it really affected me in a way that when I came home and told my wife, she was like, "Good Lord, I thought somebody died." I said, "Hey, I got a story for you." And anyway, it's not that important, but it messed up my day. Now I got to fix it and get back going again, and some deep breathing, some hydration, and some good food will help you be better fueled to be able to handle the shit that happens in a day. And it happens to us all. You don't get out of it. In fact, I put a chapter in the Never Quit Mindset, and it is called Stress Mitigation, Nutrition, Breathing, Relaxing, Sleep. Those are our 4 tools that we have to deal with stress. And it doesn't matter what that stress looks like. Somebody said only military people call it a cluster. That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of clusters out there. But anyway, those are our 4 big tools to deal with stress, whether that is the day-to-day stress we have in our life, it is physical stress from working out hard, it is emotional stress, it is work stress, family stress, whatever it is, those hormones are the same. Our stress hormones are the same, and it doesn't matter what that stress is, hormonally speaking, it is the same. And these tools are how we deal with them. Breathing, sleeping is probably number 1, and number 2, nutrition and hydration are definitely going to be helpful. And just relaxing and breathing is probably the biggest way to do it. My plan today is, after I get all my stuff done today and this thing unlocked, probably just go for a long walk, for an hour, and just breathe, stretch, and actually deal with the stress hormones versus letting them just build up, build up, build up. Next thing you know, you're dealing with chronic stress, and that usually involves all kinds of sickness and illnesses. So that's what we're trying to prevent here. All right. So that's my story, and it kind of involves a never quit mindset to a degree, because you can't have a never quit mindset if your brain's frazzled and you're worried about the clusters of life. So you got to learn to deal with it. That's what stress mitigation chapter is in there, and I'm telling you, it is very helpful, not only from a physical training side, but also just mentally and emotionally. It will help you. Yeah, Ryan says 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. That's a classic box breathing method. I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, so you breathe in for 4 seconds through your nose, hold for 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds through your mouth, hold that for 4 seconds, and before you breathe again, and breathe in 4 seconds. That's a good one. Something I like to mix that with is just walking. So I'll go for a walk, do some box breathing, hit stress twofold with that one. Works really well. Get away from your phone. Don't even look about it. Don't even look at it. Just focus on walking and breathing. It's a good time. Yeah, Ryan says I'm getting too tough, too soft. Time to check myself. I know you say you're joking, but I thought the exact same thing. I thought that I'm spoiled. I wouldn't say soft. I'd just say spoiled. Like when things don't work right, it's an inconvenience when your car doesn't work, right? Or you get locked out of somewhere. It's an inconvenience. It's not your world falling apart. Even though it starts second and third and fourth issues follow from it like a snowball going down a mountain. It can affect the rest of your day big time. So, all right. Does recon do PT with boots? Yeah, that's a good question. I'll ask my recon guys that we had a whole slew of guys get through the recon and MARSOC program recently. I'll give them a call. But I've seen them do both because they're about to go run. Sometimes they'll run in shoes and shorts. But usually, if they're doing some PT, they'll have their cami bottoms on, and they're doing like obstacle courses, and they'll mix in some PT as part of the process of that workout as well. So, yes and no. SEALs do the same thing. All right, let's see what kind of questions we have here. Speaking of stress, I know stress of going to BUD/S is the same for many. Is there any way to mitigate this stress before dwelling on hardship to come before shipping out? This is always a great question. It's anxiety is what you're dealing with, not stress before shipping out. Here's the way I want you to look at it. Okay. Don't worry about it right now, because here's the deal. You're shipping out, but you're about to go through 8 weeks of boot camp, right? And there's nothing in that is going to be physically challenging. You will be challenged mentally, and you'll be challenged with standing at attention and folding laundry and learning new things like military general orders of the century, all of these little things. So learn how to be in the military, learn how to be a sailor first, but that shouldn't cause a lot of anxiety, right? And you got 2 months before you show up to BUD/S. So when you show up to BUD/S, it doesn't even get hard for a good 4 to 6 weeks until you start first phase. So now we're talking 14, 15 weeks before you start first phase from your day one of shipping out to boot camp. So having anxiety about things that are, 14 weeks away, yes, is not uncommon, but it also isn't necessary. I could understand the weekend before first phase starts, now you're like, whew, it's about to start. That's more excitement than it is anxiety. This anxiety you have now, the best way to deal with it is use those 4 methods like I just mentioned. Focus on your breathing, good nutrition, get your workouts in, extra workouts in. Make sure you are addressing strengths and weaknesses, because I think a lot of people try to double down on their strengths and they ignore some weaknesses. They may not even know they have weakness because they haven't assessed themselves properly. So make sure you assess yourself properly with PST events, BUDS events, 4 mile timed runs, 2 mile swims, treading water, pool skills, um, all of those things, load bearing activities. Make sure you can, run with a sandbag on your chest and on your shoulder. All of those are very important to get used to and build some durability for those. And then eventually you're going to say, I'm as ready as I will ever be. And that is what you say. I am ready. Now, and there'll become, yeah, as you get closer to that time, like let's say the weekend before first phase starts or the weekend before Hell Week starts, is you don't have time to get faster. You don't have time to get stronger. Don't even have time to get that much smarter, right? You can learn a few things, you know, but you do have time to get tougher. And that means you mentally have to push yourself, bringing your A game to every event and knowing when to push, knowing when to pace. All of those things will fall into place for you when you get there. And within your first week, you'll start to realize, like, okay, all right, I think I'm prepared. It's still hard, but I'm prepared mentally and physically, and you just keep on going, keep on enduring it. But that's what I do with anxiety. Anxiety is worrying about the future, depression is worried about the past. Try to stay in the present, right? Try to stay in the here and now. Don't worry too much about what's going on after boot camp. You still got to worry about boot camp, right? Let you go to sleep, and not keep you up at night. There you go. Hope that helps there. How would you split up your seasonal workouts through the day? I have school from 7 to 2. Um, yeah, I mean, just like everybody else, we usually do our land stuff before 7, and then we'll or when your pool's if sometimes guys pools open in the morning and they can't get to the pool any other time. So do your swims in the morning before 7. You got to do something before 7 and then do the other stuff in the afternoon. Really kind of depends on your schedule, like pool schedules, things like that. Some people can't swim until the afternoon. Like for us right now, we start working out at 6. You may have to start working out at 5:30 to be able to get to school at 7, maybe 5. That's okay too. I mean, that's what we did. When I was in college, we would work out from 5:15 until probably 6:45, 7 with all land stuff, running, PT, sometimes weights, and then we would go to school all day. I'd have rugby practice at the end of that day, so that went till about 5 o'clock ish. We'd run back, jump in the pool, go eat dinner, and then go study the rest of the night. Let's see. Hope that helps you, David. I've written a few articles about time management and college courses preparing for special ops. It does help. Virux says, I'm just terrified to fail. Yeah, I mean, I think fear of failure is logical. I will say this, there's a whole chapter on failure here, and fearing it is not necessary. Using failure as a learning experience is what you have to do. Obviously, there's going to be a time when you can't fail, or you can't fail your primary goal. But even if you do, it's a learning experience, and a lot of people come back the second time around and they crush it. So don't fear failure and let it paralyze you. Use the word, don't even use the word, use it. You just replace failure with learning experience and see what that does to your anxiety. Should help you. Like I said, there's a whole chapter in renaming failure. Navy EOD contract got dropped because of FY changes, shifting my path to Air Force since I'm qualified. Recs for shifting, recommendation for shifting training plan and delay. No, it's going to be very similar. That, I don't even think you need to swim for Air Force EOD. Just depends on what job you're doing in EOD. If you're going to do something in Air Force Special Warfare that requires swimming, then you're still solid. Because if you've been preparing for the PST, the only difference is the IFTs in a different order. Instead of doing the PFT book, instead of doing this one, go for this one. They're similar, but you'll see some differences because there's some different focuses on it, especially with pool skills and things like that. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Zeno says, that's a good quote. Anxiety is worrying about the future, depression, worrying about the past, stay in the present. It is true. I'm no psychologist, but that's how I understand it. Probably quite an elementary approach to that, but if you break it down to its basic form, that's really what it is. When you're doing steady state cardio on the exercise bike for 20 minutes, what resistance RPM do you personally use? Good question. Sometimes I bounce it around. Sometimes my legs just don't feel like going over 5 on the resistance cycle. Sometimes I'll do a full pyramid where every minute on the minute I increase it. So the first 5 minutes are real easy. Next 5 minutes start to get a little harder. And you just keep going until you can't keep those RPMs that you set at the beginning. I usually keep my RPMs between 80 and 100. So if I can't keep it between 80 and 100 at that given resistance, then that's my peak. And then I come back down the backside of it. I call that the bike pyramid. It's a really fun one, and it will leave a puddle under you as well. Now, if you only have 20 minutes and you know your bike is pretty easy going up to like 10 to 15, if you wanted to, you could go up by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So in 10 minutes, you're at 20, level 20, which usually for any bike I've been on, 20 is you got to stand up to be able to pedal to keep it at 80 to 100. So yeah, it really depends. Sometimes I do a Tabata interval for 5 minutes and repeat that, with like 2 or 3 minutes in between, do it again. So a Tabata interval is like 20 seconds real hard, 10 seconds easy. 20 seconds hard, 10 seconds easy. That's a good one. Then there's a couple of others too. I wrote an article just the other day about a few protocols. It's called the Hickson Protocol and brick workouts, bike run combinations, and VO2 max increasers. Check this out. This is a good one if you want to like reduce your mileage each week, or I shouldn't say reduce it. You need to reduce it because the volume's too high. So maybe instead of a 5-mile run, you split it in half, do 2.5, but you then do another 20, 30 minutes on the bike before you run. And that's a good little combo there. What's your best book for NSW fitness? I would say these are my latest. And if you get better with experience, which I think you do, this one and this one. So these two combos, phase 1, phase 2, 3. Phase 1, is focusing on the PST, though it does more than just the PST. It focuses on 4 mile timed runs, swimming with fins, treading, all the pool skills. So it's more than just the PST, but it is focused on those events of the PST. This one is focused for, just like the title says, prep for specific events of BUD/S. That's going to help you prepare for what everybody quits on: load bearing, 4 mile timed runs, swimming with fins, things like that. Best energy drink is 3 liters of water. Best focus drug is 8 hours of sleep. Best antidepressant is 45 minutes of exercise. I like that, Ryan. I like that one. Good job. Speaking of stress, I wake up every weekday morning having fake arguments with people from work in my head. Oh man, isn't it true? I've had that as well. I don't mean it, just happens. I guess that's stress. I really wish I could stop that. Yeah, you know what? There's a little trick also, once again, in this chapter, right? The stress chapter. There's a psychological trick called name it and tame it. All right. And what happens is anxiety or depression or either one which comes around, it will create these intrusive thoughts into your head sometimes. And they're very distracting, right? And sometimes, yeah, it comes in the form of arguing with, I'm going to say this if he says this, I'm going to do this. You're preparing yourself for this battle that might or might not occur, which in some senses, it's not a bad thing. It's a survival skill, these intrusive thoughts are, if you think about it. But you need to name it to tame it. And what that means is give it a name, right? Whenever you have this thought, give it a name. Now, I used to do this drill with my kids when they have a bad dream, and we would give it a bad name, or give it a name, whatever that bad dream was. He would tell me what it is, or daughter would tell me, and we'd give it a funny name, and you know that was the name of it. And like, okay, so we're talking about Booger Eater, right, or whatever the name of the monster was, and that was chasing them or whatever. Um, and so it helps them categorize it in your brain versus it just floating around being intrusive and interfering with your actual thought process. So give it a name, it kind of finds its file in your brain and leaves you alone. But you got to keep doing it. Like I do it a lot sometimes when I'm nervous, right? And got some I call pregame jitters, right? It's basically nerves before a presentation, nerves before very important meeting. Right now, I got to have my stuff together and know what I'm going to say, no matter what question it is. And I always would call that my pregame jitters. It felt the exact same before getting up to bat at, you know, important ninth inning baseball game, or right before a football game. You're all jacked up and you're just so excited to go on the field. Pre-game jitters. So I was able to give it a name, take a couple big deep breaths, and that intrusive thought, even the butterflies in your stomach, can go away. So try that. It's a little, and you can Google the term. I didn't make it up. You can Google the term "name it and tame it" sports psychology, and you'll find some good articles about it. I've written a few of them myself, and it's very helpful. I hope that helps you. How many miles a week are you doing in the fall training? I think we're still high 20s right now, but every week we're degressing versus progressing, um, because that's what we're doing. We're degressing to get ready for the winter lift cycle. So right now we're adding lifting, shortening the running miles volume, but we're increasing the speed. So we're focusing on speed, adding agility, decreasing the total volume, and adding weight, decreasing the reps um, of the calisthenics, because we're adding weight vests and actual weights. So this is our deload phase, preparing for the winter lift coming out of the summer. Because in the summer we were mid 30s, some guys were in the 40s, and now we're shifting down. We'll probably get it down to about 20, 25 before the winter gets here, and we'll continue that downward shift until we get down to about 15. And we'll get about 15 miles a week during the winter lift cycle. But really, even then, those runs are really just to stay warm because we do lift weights outside in the winter. So our mileage really is just keep warm mileage. Let's see. How to distinguish compulsions from discipline and drive. I don't know. Never really thought about it. I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. When you're compulsive, obsessive compulsive, I mean, that's would sound like it's not necessarily a good thing, but you know, if you have discipline and you're really driven, you're going to appear to other people who aren't driven and disciplined as compulsive. I can't tell you how many times people, I've been working out pretty regularly for 43 years. This is my 44th year of training, and pretty consistently. To anybody else in my world, I am obsessed with working out, but I'm just healthy. It's a shame that it may look compulsive to some people, but it's just me being me, and, you know, have a habit of training. So I wouldn't take it too bad, but I'm not the definition on what becomes compulsive, obsessive compulsive, which sounds like a psychological disorder versus an actual dedicated to a goal and achieving it. Does CSS fry your back as much as freestyle? I would assume not. No, it doesn't. I mean, if you switch sides, that top arm's going to be a freestyle catch, just like your freestyle is. So, yes, you should be using your back muscles and your triceps when you're doing that freestyle catch. And when you get good enough to change sides, you're going to feel it in your lats and your triceps when you swim CSS, just like you do freestyle. But it's less than freestyle because you're only doing, like, I'll do like 15 strokes to get across a pool freestyle, but I'll do 5 to get across the pool with the CSS. So that's a big difference. And that's 15 strokes, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 7 on one, 7 and 8 on one, and 7 and 8 on the other. Whereas on the CSS, it's just 5 on one. So I would say yes, CSS would not fry your back as much as freestyle. All right. Feel early signs of Achilles tendonitis coming on. How do you recommend adjusting training accordingly? Well, here's what I would do. I mean, Achilles tendonitis, you can still run, just avoid speed running, agility running, jumping, and hills, right? So that means flat, goal pace running is all you need to do. You don't need to start off fast and explosive, just nice and steady. Maybe cut half of your mileage away and add, for every mile that you miss, you do 10 minutes of bike. That would be something helpful. I would highly recommend that. And massage it and foam roll it and heat it up before you go do anything. Get it warmed and try to avoid stretching it for a little while. Probably what happened is you stretched it to make it kind of want to knot up. So avoid stretching, do more massage. Maybe a compression sleeve would be smart. And whenever you are sitting around, elevate it as well. See how that helps. But you can work around it and work through it even. So Ryan says, name it, claim it, aim it. To aim it means example, nervous, claim it, but then focus. If you're angry, claim it and get aggressive at workout or go do physical exercise or play a game. Yeah, that's another way of tying it in. And if you think about it, it really comes down to that fight or flight response too. If you are like really feeling it, you're in that fight or flight response, so you get pissed off, you get angry, you get nervous, all of this stuff. Go physically deal with it. Go for a walk, go for, you know, a jog, go for a hard workout, put a little extra oomph into it, little intensity. That should help you fight it off. Just like one of our natural responses to stress is to fight it or get away from it and, live to fight another day. So, but that often requires physical activity as well. Like think about the rabbit. The rabbit's not going to defend itself physically. Its goal is to outrun anything that is chasing it, and that is its fight or flight response. Ours could be the same. Ours could also be turn around and fight it. That is another response to stress in that type of situation. But here's the deal. Our hormones don't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference if it's our brain firing us up and getting our nervous system jacked, or if it's something like an actual threat in front of us getting our nervous system jacked. Our nervous system's jacked. You still got to deal with it. And that's how you deal with it with those four natural um, natural processes of dealing with stress. Stress mitigation chapter here. Stress mitigation, nutrition, breathing, relaxing, sleeping. Highly recommend it. It'll help you. It'll help you be, you can't be tougher without learning how to deal with stress. Otherwise, the stress unravels you. Yeah, try the name it and tame it. I think it'd be really helpful. Somebody said Stu Goggins. That is not the case at all. David Goggins he's supernatural. I mean, he is obviously physical and he breaks. He is human, but he breaks. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter. That dude will just keep going. And it's unbelievable. It really is. He's as tough as they come. And I'm impressed by all the people he inspires with his toughness. I mean, it's impressive to see. And you know, whether or not you think what he does is crazy or not, he is inspirational to many, and you can't take that away from him. So, humans are meant to move. That is correct. Keep on moving. Don't quit. I found out I overstretched my rib oblique injury to heal it, but made it worse. Sleep is the solution. Yeah, sometimes when you stretch something, stretching it is not the answer to fix it. Even though you want to stretch it so bad, especially like an Achilles or a hamstring. Like there's this tightness back there and you feel like, "Oh, I just need to do a couple of hamstring stretches and feel better." And while at first you're like, "Okay, it's definitely tight. Can I go a little bit lower? Can I go a bit lower?" And then next thing you know, you're just re-injuring it. So yeah, sometimes hamstring pulls, Achilles tendonitis, those things when they get really tight, the last thing you want to do is stretch it. Massage, elevate it, compression. If you need to put ice on it, ice can help with some immediate pain. It's probably not going to help you with overall healing. Um, but heat, definitely heat, massage tools, awesome. That's what I would do. Yeah. Yeah. Your Father Hogue story is inspirational too. Yeah, you know what? He's a great guy. I still see him pretty regularly. Good fella. He's here in Annapolis at St. Mary's, and every now and then he'll pick up masses over at the academy. Um, even though he's a civilian now, but he spent, I think he spent 15 years in the Navy as a chaplain. You know, starting at 52, I think he got out a little after 65, which is impressive. Good guy. Good guy. Guy lost 80 pounds in a year to serve at 52 years old, and wound up serving with Marines this whole time. And he was always seen running outside during lunch. So Father Hogue was inspirational to many. Inspirational to me. Ben says, "What's up, Stu? Not much. I've just had one of those days, but you know what? It's getting better. It's getting better. I'm almost done. So after I do this, I'm going to finish up some deadline stuff and then go deal with my truck, which is sitting over there locked up because I locked my keys in my truck. But there are worse problems. So everything's solid. Yeah. All right. So any other questions? Looks like I've answered all of them over here on YouTube, answered them all over here on Instagram. If I missed any questions, just please email me. I'm happy to answer your questions by email, stu@stusmith.com. You can also go check out stusmithfitness.com. Tons of articles over there. And, use the Google machine, ask it a question, put my name in it. I might have even written an article about it. There's not too much I haven't written about when you have probably 1,600 articles out there. And most of them came from people's questions. Very rarely do I get a question that I haven't answered in some way. Just may not be, the article may not be perfect for your situation, but it might give you a good general answer to it. All right, looks like I got another question. Right, thou truck shall open today. I agree, sir. It shall. Beer X. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but anyway, he says, whenever I'm doing pull-ups or any form of calisthenics, I notice my back gets pretty fried. When I try to swim the next day, I'm swimming freestyle, but should I rest after calisthenics from swimming? No, get used to it. It's just a conditioning issue that you need to get used to. So your back will be fried. When you do put it this way, pull-ups and swimming don't mix at all. I remember a lot of times we will still do pull-ups, push-ups, and abs on the pool deck because we have a pull-up bar next to the swimming pool. And let me tell you, if you have a pull-up bar next to the swimming pool, add pull-ups to your swim if you want to feel your back blow up, because it will seriously get your back ready for whatever. Whether it is swimming, it is pull-ups and swimming, it's going to challenge you. So understand it's hard and just get better at it. My advice is this: keep swimming freestyle until your back is like it's hard to pull through the water. Let it rest a little bit. Make sure you're stretching it out and maybe do some breaststroke or some side stroke as your rest stroke, and then get back into your freestyle. And eventually it'll go away. I mean, it probably takes about 10 or 15 minutes before you don't even notice it anymore. But that's very common. Pull-ups and swimming, it's a good combo. Got to get used to it. Let's see. Any recommendations on how to get a pull-up bar mounted at the YMCA pool? Are they usually open to it? Oh no, you can try. I mean, I used one of those stud bars. You ever seen that? and you can mortar it, use mortar bolts right into the wall. They may want somebody special to do it because I'm sure they have OSHA regulations they have to follow, and pull-up bars need to be put up solidly. But you can at least say, "Hey, I'll donate this pull-up bar if you want to put it up." It's I can show you the pictures of ours that we have on the wall, and that thing we have 2 people on there hanging doing pull-ups. I mean, that thing's sturdy. But it's called the Stud Bar. And I wouldn't go to studbar.com because I think that that might steer you in the wrong direction. But I think it's called the Stud Bar Pull-Up. Stud Bar Pull-Up. Yep, studbarpullup.com is where I would go. If you type in Stud Bar, you might find something different. I'm not even going to tell you what that is. Oh, looks like it's not found. Used to be, I don't know. I think it was a gay bar. But anyway, check out studbar.com, studbarpullup.com. Sorry. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Get used to pull-ups. Yeah, does that help? All right. Let's see. Looks like. All right, folks. I think I've answered all my questions. So I appreciate you coming around and asking questions. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe show some videos of CSS critiques. I got a few to show, and take more questions after that. But hey, man, some days are clusters. Got to breathe through it, eat through it, get things done, keep moving, never quit. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.